and you may start this video, and I am going to admit all once I get back. Here we go.
Agangatolu arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boia, oia. Agangatolu arueda, arroba boi. Gana, 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 aoia, beoxê, aê, araí, agangatolu arueda. Gana, 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 aoia, beoxê, aê, araí, agangatolu arueda. Gana, 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 aoia, beoxê, aê, araí, agangatolu arueda. Gana, 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 aoia, beoxê, aê, araí, agangatolu arueda. Gana, 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 aoa, beoxê, aê, araí, agangatolu arueda, 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 agangatolu arueda. todo arueta, a cagar 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 todo arueta. Salve Gege!
Hello and welcome, family. This is Community Healing Days 2023. Thank you so much, Jabari, for that beautiful intro video, getting us kicked off right with the right mood, the right vibe. This is our second of 4 events for this 2023 Community Healing Days. Tomorrow, we will all be wearing sky blue as a representation that the sky represents the unlimited possibilities of Black people. And Sunday, our final event is our Community Healer Awards. I hope that you can all join us at Sunday, 1 p.m. Please let us know if you need to register, or if you need any assistance. We are delighted to have this panel here today, these 4 phenomenal people I'm so excited about. The discussion has already been rich. And before we dive in and get to know these wonderful people and get this conversation started, I'd like to just take a moment and acknowledge our ancestors. Dear ones, in order for you to be born, you needed 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 second great-grandparents, 32 third great-grandparents, 64 fourth great-grandparents, 128 fifth great-grandparents, 256 sixth great-grandparents, 512 seventh great-grandparents, 1,024 eighth great-grandparents, 2,048 ninth great-grandparents. Dearest ones, in order for you to be born today from 12 previous generations, you needed a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. Think for a moment. How many struggles? How many battles? How many difficulties? How much sadness? How much happiness? How many love stories? How many expressions of hope for the future did your ancestors have to undergo for you to exist in this present moment? Dearest ones, I invite you to take a moment to invite ancestors known to you personally and ancestors that you may not have known personally, and invite them to be here with us today. We welcome them and thank them for our flourishing, for all that they have contributed, for us to be here on this planet, to continue the liberation of Black people. I'm proud to announce that we have over 143,290 ancestors joining us here today for this discussion of how we are each other's medicine. This is something that our ancestors knew that we are reclaiming, that we can feel and are just also re-beginning to put many words to. And as I introduce these panelists one by one, you'll get a sense of what I mean about we are each other's medicine. First, I'd like to start with Dr. Nailah Beraki. She is a licensed clinical naturopath, psychologist. She is a holistic healing practitioner, counselor, Reiki master, and the owner of Shaker Ray Wellness Collaborative. With over 40 years of experience in empowering others, Nailah has gained the reputation of being a transformational expert in her field. She has not only taught business for health professionals at the New York College, but has also been called upon as an expert and referenced in numerous publications. And that's not all. Nailah is a best-selling author on Amazon with books like Answer the Call and Fear It's a Good Thing, and a contributing author of Unstoppable and Life Boosts. As a certified energy leadership index master practitioner, ELI-MP, and a professional coach certified by ICEP and accredited by the International Coach Federation, PCC, Nailah travels the country to guide others on their profound personal transformation journey. Dr. Beraki, please bring yourself into the circle by telling us, who are your people?
Whew. This room is crowded. All the ancestors just jumped on in here. So, you know, when you say my people, you know, my people are the people that want to breathe the air, that understand that if I breathe at you from New York, that you feel it any and everywhere. I want us to breathe together. I want us to connect. And I want my people to feel that this paradigm that we are all here to serve one another, each one teach one and lift one up. These are my people. And the ones who don't understand that they're our people, I would like for them to be lifted up so that they are not left behind, because that is a choice and a decision.
Ashe. Ooh, thank you so much. Community healer, Babajay Dr. Onaje Muid is a transformative social innovator with 40 years history of serving nonprofits and community organizations. He serves as co-chair of the National Association of Black Social Workers, National Relations Committee, and Health Commission for National Coalition of Blacks for Reparation in America, and the United Nations NGO representative for IHRAAM. For our community that is familiar with Baba Onaje, we know that he is also an advocate and practitioner of auricular healing and a birth doula. Babajay has also been blessing us with information about events and Dr. Shakur in our chat. So if you are willing and able to take a moment to check out those offerings that he is sprinkling upon us, please do so. Babajay, please tell us, who are your people?
Mitakoyo Yase, all my relations, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, those that swim, those that fly, They are my people because they are my relatives.
Ashe, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beloved Dr. Valerie F. Hunt is the daughter of Elder Murdy Hunt and beloved ancestor Richard Hunt. Dr. Hunt is a scholar, activist, mentor, teacher, poet, artist, and healer whose primary applied research and practice is in transforming racial inequities by way of building beloved communities of liberation and emancipation. Beloved is a certified emotional emancipation circle facilitator who has introduced us to a community of teachers and students in Benin whose original name is Dahomey. We are currently co-facilitating an emotional emancipation circle with teachers and inspectors in Ouida, Dahomey, and I'm so blessed that we have some of those teachers here with us today. Greetings from across the waters. Dr. Hunt's manifesto of liberate and emancipate the Black community is to get in, fan out, and bring the knowledge back to our people. She serves as faculty affiliate at the University of Washington, both in the Center for Communication, Difference, and Equity, and in the Department of Political Science, and with the School of Education at Oregon State University. As a policy analyst, her expertise and research interests are public policy dynamics in the following issue areas: the politics and practice of being and belonging, race, citizenship and immigration policy, race wealth and race inequality, race and housing policy, Black and Indigenous relations, health disparities, and the social determinants of health. Lastly, Dr. Hunt considers her Harriet Tubman work of liberation of Black people throughout the diaspora through education of who we are, our history, and our connections with one another. Beloved, please bring yourself into the circle by telling us who your people are.
May your day be well, may your night be well, and all the moments in between. May your day and night be well, because no day is promised and life is unpredictable. Some of my people up in the room right now. So hello, Mom. Hello, sisters, and all my ancestors. I had to tell you, my people, when I really think about who my people are trees and ants. I learn from them every day. There's a murder of crows that took care of me during the global health pandemic. They would always sit out in front of my window and make sure I was all right. And as a matter of fact, when we were doing some of our teaching with our Ouida family, if they hear my voice, they start cackling in, and we had to get off. My people are also artists, and my people are healers, and anyone, absolutely anyone who understands that if you are Black, you're an Afrofuturist. That just uttering what's possible means that we're doing this in a world that really didn't want anything that we had to be as separate from themselves. But we know that Afrofuturism means that we reclaim, because we're the original human beings. And so I mean that all people are my people. They just had to get back into the fold. So thank you, and I'm complete.
Ashe, thank you so much. Dr. Jonathan Mathias Lassiter is a 21st century polymath. He is a licensed clinical psychologist in private practice at Lassiter Health Initiatives, alongside his roles as professor, author, and public speaker. As a public intellectual, Dr. Lassiter has been featured across television, radio, podcasts, and print media such as NBC's Today Show, PBS News Report, Sirius XM, and The Hill. His debut trade press book, How I Know White People Are Crazy, will be published by Hatchet Books in 2025. Dear ones, please know that all four of these amazing people have such extensive biographies that I had to shorten them. And so if you have any interest and are also willing to go find them on the web, you will find out so much more about them. In the meantime, Dr. Lassiter, please bring yourself into the circle by introducing who are your people.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm just so grateful to be in this space. I just want to start off by expressing gratitude. My people are people that want to embody the divine in them, who wants to live out their godness. Those are my people. I particularly have focused my energy on helping people of African descent, Black communities, because there's far too many of us who are specializing in that work, or I should say far too few of us who are specializing in that work. My community is also Black LGBTQ plus people who often have people either leave them out of the conversation or speak for them and they don't know what they're talking about. So those are my communities. My communities and my family that got to me, that got me where I am today. I am because of them. So I'm just so happy to be here with you all and to have you now part of my community.
Ashe, thank you so much, Dr. Lassiter. And so the discussion topic is we are each other's medicine. And for people who are regulars at our Tuesday emotional lunch break, know that I say this all the time because I really do believe it. And so now that we also have a medical physician as our executive director, medicine is just spilling out all over the place at Community Healing Network. And so it's such a big word. And what does that mean? And so the question that I cast out to the community, our 4 panelists, is what do we mean by medicine? Baba Onaje, I'd like to begin with you. Please kick us off. What do we mean by medicine?
Ubuntu, I am because we are, therefore I am. When we continue to affirm our interconnectedness to the universe and all that exists, anything that connects us to that and grounds us in that is medicine. Anything that pulls us away from that is dis-ease. So using my art as the platform, that which affirms order, balance, harmony, reciprocity, truth, justice, compassion, anything that affirms that, amplifies that, and continues that is the medicine of life.
Ashe. And dear panelists, please chime in. Don't wait for me to welcome you in. Please, I know you all have so much to say. Let's get our discussion going. Who else would like to respond? What do we mean by medicine?
I love, brother spoke, truth took the words out of my mouth and said it better than I could. But we are each other's universal bond. We are all of that connects all humanity. We are each other's medicine. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. And our responsibility we have a responsibility to nurture each other with our gifts. That's the medicine that I feel that we are. And we all have it. We all came in with our gifts. Sometimes we just don't know what they are.
Yeah. I shade to all of that. And what I would like to add and bring into the space is that, yes, the medicine is, again, the sacredness, the divine in all of us, that connection, that energetic spirit, right? And totally agree that anything that moves that out of whack is that dis-ease. Medicine is also helping each other recognize that. I think a lot of us, because of the white supremacy myth and the myth of Black inferiority, have internalized messages that that disconnect us from that sacredness, that divine, that infinite power that we have, that infinite potential for healing that we have. We're sort of disconnected to it. So medicine also looks like remembering, reminding, reconnecting, affirming, speaking that nomo, that word power, speaking that life, that healing, that divinity in our community members who may not be able to see it themselves, right? And also opening ourselves up to receive that from each other, being that divine reflection of each other is medicine.
Ashe, yes, we are each other's mirrors. Yes, Dr. Beloved, what say you?
I deeply appreciate how our beloved family have brought us a circle within circle within circle it is true that when one drop of wisdom goes into the whole pool of the big mind, all those ripples move out. So eventually it will touch one or the other of us in a particular and profound way, but it's still connected to the all. So for me, it means that medicine has to be holistic and connected to the mind, body, spirit of the self and the community. So when we get ourselves outside of these words that are American English, which I think are harmful for us because they were deeply structured to create, develop, and maintain a white supremacist system and an enslavement system. Too many of our words, so that it's very difficult for us to talk about medicine without using Afrocentric or words that are African descendant. And so for me, medicine, there are different kinds of medicine. There's the medicine of awareness. There's the medicine of forgiveness. So beloved ancestor and Desmond Tutu practiced the medicine of forgiveness. There's the medicine of joy building. Beloved sister Dr. Nailah practices joy building because of the holistic work that they do. There's the medicine of how arts can allow for us to hear words or information that is too difficult for us to really believe in, but art will open us all up to what it means to be not only to be healed here and now, but intergenerational and transgenerational healing. So for me, medicine is as I said earlier the other day, it's like owning your own land and be able to brew chamomile tea and make your own bullets. It depends on what you need at the moment. So thank you for that, and I am complete.
Yeah.
I would, if it's okay, I would just like to touch on one of those things that you said, Dr. Beloved, because that intergenerational piece is so important, and it's something that as a psychologist, I work with my clients about. And, sometimes, again, because of the harmfulness of the Ma'afa, and that has, sort of fractured us in certain ways, that sometimes we are born into families and into communities that need healing and don't necessarily either know that or don't know how to get that healing. But sometimes my clients come to me and I say, but you do know better. You do have that illumination, and you are the seed that can contribute to the healing of your entire family and the generations to come. So that intergenerational piece I think is so very important. It's so powerful. And I think sometimes we don't understand, because healing is tough work in this world that is structured around keeping us diseased. Healing is tough work. And sometimes people get tired, and that's understandable. But what I like to do is I like to encourage folks that when we go about the work of healing, we aren't just doing that for ourselves, but we're doing that for our families and the people that will come before us. I mean, come after us, right? The same way that the people that came before us survived so that we can be here.
Thank you, beloved Dr. JL. Folks, y'all might be seeing, I love words, so I will always just like, if I hear some of our community's words, I'll throw them in the chat.
And speaking of words, I was hoping you could speak for a moment about Ori. What is that? What does it mean? And how do you use it?
Whoa, okay. I shall do that. And I will call on my beloved teacher, Gerard Richard Bayanu, to co-facilitate this conversation about Ori. In a particular spiritual practice that is from the motherland, the word Ori is from that practice. However, Ori exists whether we use the word or even understand the word Ori, but it is our connection with the all, with the creator, and why we came on the world, why we decided to come onto the planet, manifested as Jan, manifesting as Jonathan, manifesting as Valerie Hunt, and how how I am doing in that charge I gave myself to come to the planet as Valerie, and Jonathan came as Jonathan, and how being connected to God allows for me to be checking that bellwether. So, beloved Richard, can you take that on as well?
Yeah, thank you so much, dear mom. Yeah, Vodun spirituality is more about knowing thyself. It is not like other religion. And it is true that in our West African Vodun practices, we acknowledge the existence of a supreme being that is the creator of Mother Nature, that we call Maugbedoto. But he is not considered as directly connected to our destiny. Because in Vodun spirituality, you can even see that God, the creator of the universe, is different from the king of the universe, which means that just like we have the whole United States and Joe Biden is ruling the country now, but he is not the founder of that country. So in the spiritual realm, we have a king for the whole world ruling everything, but he's not the creator. He can be tricky, he can be wicked, he can be good and loved as well. But after that, we have the Ori, that the fun people will call the Se, which is our destiny designer. And practicing our spirituality consists in finding out which spiritual you belong to, who is your Ori, what lifestyle you should observe in order to stay in communion with your spiritual realm. And that is the best medicine one man can have on earth, staying in communion with their ancestors, with their spiritual realm. That is what we mean by Se or Ori in African spirituality. Knowing yourself, know how you should live, and what you should not even eat, because sometimes you are sick and no physician, no doctor can find out what you are really suffering from. But this could just be a color of clothes that you're wearing, which is causing that disease. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Richard. And for those of you, Richard is a lead teacher, the founder of Saturday School in Ouida Dahomey. I will not try to pronounce it in French because I will not do it well. It's SEA. And so, beloved family, normally we're having our emotional emancipation circle in Ouida with our beloved educators and inspectors. And so they have been generous enough to give us this time for this panel discussion, and we'll resume next week. And so just to give you a little context of who was speaking, thank you so much. I'm curious about something Dr. Lassiter said, which is that when we are healing not only for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, and our communities, as well as our ancestors. And knowing that we are all on a healing journey to some degree, I'm curious about those barriers in healing, that bump in healing. So like when we hit those places that we just can't seem to move beyond, what do you all recommend about those moments when you feel like, I've reached the top of this mountain and I see another one, but I'm tired. I just don't know how to get to that next level. What would you all say about that moment?
I would first say, welcome to the present moment. and to dwell in it. There are so many lessons in that present moment.
So, my head is spinning. It's just, I'm grateful. So many people, my sister, I call them time travelers, because either they're traveling to the past or they're in the future. And the future is a great idea, but it hasn't happened yet. And by the time they come back to the present, they miss that moment and they cannot get it back. So when Sister said, be present, you have to be present for your healing. Some people think they climbed the mountain, but they took one step up a stairs. And they said, this is it. This is as far as I can go, because they don't have, when you say the sky, Some people don't understand not even the sky is the limit. You know, some people feel like the limit is just what happened in my neighborhood, and that's how it is. So I ask people, what are you unwilling to be responsible for in creating or causing, in your life, so that they can reflect, because we're limitless, we're boundless, but we have to know that, because if there's no limitations in God, then we need to flush out as many as we have within ourselves. And there's so many that stifle us. And as a brother also mentioned that I love and I believe, is sometimes when it comes to your energy, because everything is energy, the colors you wear can make you ill. There is an order in the universe. And for me, for the last 50 years, except for, I can't say for the day, but I dress, there's a color for the day, there's a seed for the day, there's a nut and a root for the day, there's a planet that rules the day. So Monday is blue, Tuesday is red, ruled by Mars. Wednesday, ruled by Mercury. Thursdays, ruled by Jupiter. Fridays, ruled by Saturn. There is an order in the universe. And sometimes when we follow that, if we follow that, we can learn to heal ourselves. We could begin to trust our intuition and our instinct, because our body is always trying to save us. Our body itself, you ever almost trip, and before you knew what happened, you wonder what happened, but you got saved. Your body saved you, because the body is intelligent. And that's one of the last things that we listen to, because we're so inundated by all of these outer things. But that's the whole ideal of keeping us from ourselves. The same news that came on at noon will be on at 6. It will be on at 11. It's just instilling fear and keeping us away from that divine order that we have within us.
Shay, thank you so much. Babajay, what would you say about being in the present moment, helping people move past, that moment where they feel stuck?
Speak of receptivity and listening. Listening to that inspiration and knowing when to be in repose and know when to be in action. If we are in sync with the moment, we'll know if we need to be still or if we need to be in action. That's going to give us our footing. And because we live in a capitalist society, it's always go, 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 go. There's a book out that's called Rest as Resistance. It's a time when I grew up in the era of revolutionary warfare throughout Africa. And our motto was Aluta Continua, the struggle continues, which means, and of course, Frederick Douglass says, it may be a moral struggle, it may be a physical struggle, but it must be a struggle, because where there was no struggle, there was no progress. So there's a contest that we're in, and it's called liberation. So the new generation, in fact, even our elder Grill, Enola says that, the struggle is over. Because we're putting an end to it. So it's a new mindset that says, how do we find this balance between the repose and the action? Because work has to get done. It isn't as if we can just sit down and things are just going to happen. Work has to get done. So we're in a new era now where we are attempting to find this new balance between repose and action.
Yes, please, beloved.
May I share with Dr. Babajay? What I wrote down as, because that's our next question, they're connected with what are some of the modalities of healing that are not recognized? If I can humbly say that I think you and submit to you, Dr. Babajay, that you saying that we, this particular, that is a world sense about how to look at for some of these modalities that will help that will bring us into a new type of healing. And I would like to speak to one of those. And that is, I really do believe that one of the things that we are not paying attention to is aligning our energy dynamics with the principal energy dynamics of the earth. So if it's winter, we need to be doing wintering kinds of energies and dynamics. That's what does it mean to repose and be in action in winter. If it's summertime, I don't want to be bringing winter energies to summertime. And when it's spring, I really want to be in alignment with the spring energies, so that I with repose and action, so that whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be in love and showing love to the earth, because I'm accountable to the earth, and I'm accountable to all of us. So that means finding what does that look like physically. And so I don't know if that is if that resonates with you at all, but that's what came to my mind when we're talking about when to repose and when to be in action. And what does that look like in the springtime, to repose and to be in action? What does it look like, in the height of summer? Bearing in mind that we got some sisters and brothers and folks in the room where they're about to go into summertime in West Africa, okay? So we know that, but the planet is like that. The planet is Ma'at. The planet is in winter in some parts and in spring in others. So with that, I am complete.
No, so much of what you all are saying is resonating with me and reminded me of conversations I've had with clients before. Is that, yeah, I've my friends and I have said before around the winter energy, it's like, even the water slows down. Why am I expected to leave my house? Right. So it's been a point of frustration for me for quite some time. So I totally understand that. I also am thinking about balancing that, though, with the sort of oppressive nature of capitalism that requires us to unnaturally move against the rhythms of the earth, right? Because the light company don't care about the rhythms of the earth, right? They will take our ability to see and our electricity and stuff if we aren't producing in the ways in which we need to do that. So that's something that I'm still, working through. It's like, how do we push forward in healing again in a world where everything around us is structured by powers that want dis-ease and destruction? And that is something that I think we're probably all still trying to figure out. The other thing around, what do you tell a client? Again, I've had this conversation with my clients, like, I'm tired, or I just want to be better already. And even with my students who I'm on faculty for a PhD program, they're getting their doctorate degrees. They say, Dr. Lassiter, I'm so tired. I've been working. I slept in 3 days, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, rest. When you're tired, rest. You may not be able to rest as long as you need to rest, again, because of the systems that crush us in certain ways. But take a moment. And one of the things that I try to encourage my clients and my students is to think about, how can we be present in the moments, in each and every day moments of our lives, meaning that from, the Western Eurocentric perspective, mindfulness and yoga and mind body practices that's our stuff as people of African descent has been whitewashed, right? And colonized and packaged in this way with Lululemon and, the green tea shots and whatever, right? So we think that it's something that we have to go and do. But being present and being mindful and being in the moment is something that we have with us in each and every moment. But we could just take that moment in this hour, and maybe we can get 5 moments in the next hour, but continuing to build that practice of being mindful and being present, because it really is a practice. Because again, it's hard to do in this world that is structured for suboptimality. It's not structured for our optimality. It's not structured for us to live our divineness. It's structured to keep us disconnected from it. So it has to become a practice, something that we're very intentional about, but also understanding that in this physical form, it's going to expire before we reach the top of that mountain. It's just true, because we have so much. We're going to make progress, but again, the ways in which the system has structured not just the world outside of our families, but even within our home, that we're often trying to overcome that hurt that mom and dad, grandma, et cetera, have got us, that sometimes we might be 80 and still feel and be harmed in some level. Hopefully we know how to navigate a little bit more, right? But be harmed by that thing. And that's okay too, to give yourself grace for not being perfect or not having healed, because it's continual work. And again, from an African-centered perspective, our spirit is infinite. So we gonna have the opportunity to continue that work. So that's
Jonathan, I'd like to share
we
with
don't have
you.
to do it now, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Jonathan, I'd like to share with you in the audience. There is a book out. It's called Planet Heal. What would you do to heal planet Earth? And of course, Earth is terra firma, and our mind is the Earth, is terra firma. In this book, Queen Afua assembled about 76 healers, of which I'm one. And in the book, I put it in the chat, in terms of modalities, right, where people who've been practicing these healing modalities for many, many years. And now we have a book. We have an assortment of practitioners, and I would encourage people to purchase that and discuss it with your family, with your community. So that's another way, Jonathan, that I think we can take your lead on that. I think it's a beautiful lead to go with, what are the modalities that heal us. Thank you.
If we, thank you so much for that. I get so filled, I feel like I'm just going to go, but, I just get a little upset about this imposter syndrome and identity theft that we've all been experiencing. We've been robbed, and in understanding, if we were just to understand that, or just stand up and say, how dare you define who I am and how I should feel and who I should be, and take my money so that you can use it against me. They're building medicines, they're building all kinds of preparations so that they can keep us in this container, and it's very upsetting. But what's very upsetting to me when I have clients come in and we talk to them, I call some of them clients, some of them patients, but some of our people are fighting for the limitations because they don't want to change. They're fighting for the limitations. And they're coming to you and they say, well, I want to heal. I want to stop thinking this way. I want to stop, living this way. And then we talk about some things, things that are simple aren't always easy, but it's like, I've been this way, for a long time. And I tried this and I tried that and nothing can help me. Well, okay, well, you just spoke your word on yourself and there's nothing to help you. And that's your affirmation. Then why are you here? Let's go there. So I get very, I love my people, but if we can just kind of understand that we are responsible, that old African affirmation of each one, teach one, each one lift one up, that is real. And it sounds so simple, but yet it is very, very challenging in this work. Dr. Lassiter, in helping people to change their mind, sometimes, it can drive you to having, I'll say ashwagandha shots. I won't say drinking. Having an ashwagandha tincture, kind of bring yourself back into balance. But there's a great book called Getting Healthy with the Seasons, because the brother talk about getting, somewhere in Africa it's hot, somewhere here it's, cold. But the book about getting healthy with the season, it covers all the seasons from wherever you are. And one of the high rate of suicide and depression is the winter season. The winter season is ruled by the kid. All organs run together, yin and yang, they run together. So the kidneys and the urinary tract, and the order and the element is salt, and it's an inward season. It's a season where a lot of people can't get out, go do things because it's snow, whatever. So it's an inward season. And so, of course, the man has created these lamps that a lot of people can't afford so that we don't have to suffer with seasonal affect disorders and different things like that. But they're not explaining to us what to do in a particular season that would help us to thrive. People come to tell me, oh, I went to the doctor and, I got prescription, I'm depressed and this and that. And I said, well, as a naturopath, I said, well, what are you eating? How are you living? Tell me about that. Well, I'm studying all the time. So like 10 o'clock, I'm having coffee. I had a snack bar, some chocolate, and I couldn't sleep. I said, oh, of course not. Doctor gave me something to sleep. And when I took that, then I woke up, I was drowsy. And so I had to, get something so I could stay awake. And so you're creating this imbalance within this kingdom, because this body is the kingdom. This is the container. This is our inheritance right here. And all those people, I can't even count the people that you said it took to make us, because all those people are within us. So the further we're driven away from ourselves, the harder it is for us to get back to ourselves, and we can't identify ourselves. That's why I call identity theft. But we can. And if each one of us, it seems like there's only a few people here, hundreds of people doing this, but it takes one person to change the world. Now we all here together, and we can do that. We can do that. People want to hear that. Some people say, I don't want to talk about the planets, and I don't want to talk about that because anybody interested in that? Yeah, somebody is interested in that. And we don't know what they will take from that. You can say one thing. People could, after a while, if it's long, it sounds like white noise, but there could be one piece of information that they can take. We have to start working on bankable beliefs, the beliefs that can take us to the bank. And I'm talking about the bank of wealth, health, finances, and stop investing in being broke as though that's a badge of honor. It costs a lot of money, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to be broke and broken. So we just have to change as my mother and my grandmother say, our stinking thinking. You remember that one? Somebody, anybody? Yeah. Okay. And be in that moment, and just like brother said, and just be within, and just, begin to find out what's happening in here, because this is the world inside of us. I'm gonna stop because I can keep going on because I just feel long.
I'd like to share the work of Dr. Mathias Lassiter for those of you who may not have heard of him. Certainly, when you hear the name Shakur, you think of Afeni Shakur, Assata Shakur, or even Tupac Shakur. But Dr. Mathias Lassiter was this physician to heal us on so many different levels. So to speak of healing is to speak of the idea of, and the series is called Soul Sovereignty, right? To heal our souls, to claim our souls, to use the principle of self-determination. And in COBRA, the National Coalition of Blacks Reparations, has a campaign. It's called Millions for Matulu. And what that means is, it means that last year, on his birthday, August 8th, we declared that the Dr. Mathias Lassiter Community Health Day. And this year, we want to get 100 people to sign on to the declaration. Every year, times 10 till we reach 1 million. So if you sign up on that, I put it in the chat. If you sign up on a link, you'll be counted amongst that group. And also, we are now holding classes teaching the 5 auricular points. Dr. Kakaye out of Washington, D.C. Is our lead trainer. And we are saying, let's continue the work that our ancestors have already started. Let's continue that work. So we are inviting you to sign on the declaration and become part of the 100, and then 1,000, and 10,000, 100,000, and 1 million. I mean, just the idea. And it was funny. I saw someone in the room, and she was rubbing the ears of the cat. Well, guess what? That's what we need to do to each other. We need to, because there's medicine in these ears, in our eyes, in our feet. When we touch those points, we are already exciting certain energies. So just think of us, 1 million of us attending to each other. That's a health revolution in and of itself.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. When Brother Kenya was, before he became a doctor, he was a massage therapist as well. And we learned the auricular therapy for addiction. And the system got very upset because they didn't want you to have, you know, everything is in the ears, the eyes, the hands, the feet. They didn't want that. They wanted them to be on medication. So I just wanted to just so happy that this work is continuing in this way.
One of the, I'm sorry.
No, Dr. Lassiter, please, yes.
Oh, okay. We would talk about modalities of healing, and there was some, I think it was, I forget who it was, but one of you were talking about the self, right? And self-knowledge, I think, came up. And to me, know thyself, that was it, know thyself. And to me, that is a form of medicine. And from an African-centered perspective, we could relate it to Ubuntu, but it's, you know, it's a lot of different traditions, that when we talk about the self, not just talk about ourselves as individual, right? We're talking about the extended self. We're talking about ourselves as connected to the earth, to our communities, to our ancestors, and to the people that will come after us, and to the divine. So it's this notion of the extended self. And so that know thyself is medicine, but again, knowing thyself as extended. And as I think about, again, going back to this intergenerational piece, one of the things that I see with my students, because I'm in there teaching African-American psychology, so, you know, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds, and I'll say something and they'll just, you know, blink. And I'm just like, your parents didn't teach you this? You know, like, people don't, there were children in my class that did not know who Michael Jackson was. And I was just like, come on now. Now, I thought that one would have been a safe one to assume that everyone had at least some exposure to, right? But I use that as an example to say, part of the healing is understanding our history and our lineage and all the power and divinity that is in there. We did that ancestral math at the beginning of it. How many of us know the stories of those people? How many of us share that with those people, so that when we are in these spaces and they're trying to do identity theft, they want to take our lips, our butts, our food, our ways of talking, but everything but the oppression that they heap on us, right? They want to take all of that and then make us feel bad for embodying it. But what if we knew that that's our birthright, that that's our lineage, right? I remember having that ignorant statement said to me as a child, oh, because you reading all these books, you think you white. I said, no, Frederick Douglass read books. W.E.B. Du Bois read books, right? Like this is my birthright. This is my lineage, right? So that's part of our power, is that self-knowledge, not just hear what's in front of us, staring us in the mirror, but that self of that community that has fought those battles before us. We think we're doing it new. This ain't new. Talk about that cyclical cycle, right? This ain't new. So what can we learn from those that have come before us, whether in our bloodlines or in our cultural lines? Where is the power there? That's part of our healing as well. Know thyself, know thy extended self.
Very powerful, Dr. JL. I'd like to speak to a couple of other modalities around this, and that one is speech fasting, and then also speaking. So I had put in the chat that one of the ways of healing ourselves is to speak a language from the motherland, either proverbs or words that are important to you. I want to learn the seasons because I align my whatever it is I'm doing. And I started doing that when I was in my doctoral program in the 90s. So these people ain't gonna make me crazy. I am going to, on my birthday, which is a Thursday, that would be the day that I took and I practiced a speech fast. I just was quiet so I could get back to who I was. And that being silent is an ancient African practice in community, whether the community is the household or it's the entire village or homestead. And then speaking a language that is of Mother Africa allows for us to have certain kinds of vibrational energies in ourselves that is opposite from this language that I know I sound, that I keep saying this over and over again, but American English is foundational in words that were to develop a white supremacist system and an enslavement system. And so we keep using these words, we keep bringing the bonds back on us inadvertently. Another modality that we can practice is, as you call, I call it applied ancestor worship. That is knowing the stories. Now we worship so many things on the daily, so many material things. Why not take that energy, that life moment, and start engaging in the ancestor worship of stories about our grandparents, stories about, stories about what land and who's were stolen bodies on stolen land. So we can have conversations about what treaty ceded this land as stolen land that I was actually born on as a stolen body. That gives us a whole different way of having conversation about what our birthright is. Another one is growing our own food. That's another healing modality. There's something really powerful about eating what you grew or sharing it with someone. Another one is tending water or tending trees. What I mean by tending them is that making sure that they are deeply alive from this reason. They've been here a long time. A tree has seen many of us in so many different aspects of our generational. So tending trees means that we get to breathe because at night they're sending out oxygen for us. That's a profound way of getting back into a natural way of those that which is around us. And with that, I'm complete.
Thank you, beloved Dr. Hunt. Have you, there's a saying that if you cut down a tree in the rainforest, that it affects our air here. And that is why I'm just so hopeful that we can breathe together and bring that breath, that consciousness. One of my favorite modalities that I use a lot is breath work, because some people call it conscious connected breathing. It's also referred to as rebirthing. It could be done in hot water. We do it in hot water for for its comfort. It sort of emanates the womb, and in cold water of survival. And now they have a lot of information on cold water therapies for healing. We use maybe a third of our breath. Most of us do shallow breathing. We sit and we slight inhale, slight exhale. Babies, if you get a chance to be around a baby's breath is in a circle. There is no gap. There's no pause in baby's breath. Sometimes I look at babies and I'm saying, how do you do it? Because it doesn't stop. It's circular. Some people call it circular breathing. But when you can breathe deeply in your body, then you can become connected with yourself. There are so many things that have caused us to breathe like this, because there's so many things that are out here in the world that they're showing us to take our breath away. And so we don't inhale deeply and we get tired quickly. We fall asleep sitting in the chair because we're not breathing deeply. It's shallow breathing. So practice, bringing that breath from the bottom of your feet, like the root of a tree, all the way to the top of your head. Big inhale and begin to release. And you can do that rapidly for 10 breaths and come to a deep breath, and you will feel kind of lightheaded, which means that there's a lot of clutter that has just been cleared. So it's a wonderful modality, and I do it every day. And whether you do it in bed or before you go to sleep or in midday, or take a break in the bathroom. If you're at work and you can't do it, just go somewhere quiet and just, practice breath work. My favorite therapy is laughter. Quiet as it's kept. Laughter, this is a research. There is a Laugh Therapy Institute that researches the medical benefits of laughter. Laughter can lower your blood pressure in a minute. Just a good belly laugh. I love the fact that it burns calories, okay? But laughter can create more endorphins and create more joy in your life. This is inside of us. It's amazing. Laughter breaks ice. It makes us kind of more communal and close together, or embarrassing moment, you laugh, it kind of makes you feel more humane because this is life. So I love, laughter. And I also enjoy mirror work. Looking in that mirror and affirming that oneness, affirming that self-love. If you're in that mirror for a few minutes, you will notice that you begin to change. Or when you speak beautiful words to yourself in the mirror, that mirror is looking back at you and you may be calling yourself names. I don't believe that. That's a lie. This and this and that. But the more that you can practice being in that mirror, the more beautiful you become to yourself. The world begins to shift because you begin to look at yourself and the world differently, because it all begins with self-love. So I love mirror work. I love breath work, and I love laughter, because all is energy, and energy is all one. Thank
you. Dr. Lassiter, are there any modalities that you particularly work with that our family gathered here today may not know a lot about? Such as Reiki or rebirthing or psychodrama, which I know Babajay is involved in, or some of these things that are very effective with our people that lots of folks don't either know about or they don't know exactly what it is.
So one of the things that I have incorporated in my work is somatic work. So moving our bodies, right? And which could be dancing, right? It could be rhythmic. I mean, all of it's going to be rhythmic in some sort, but it could be rhythmic along with music, or it could just be moving our bodies along with whatever energy we're feeling. Sometimes I have my clients move to express their emotions. So psychotherapy sometimes can be exceedingly verbal. And so sometimes I'm like, let's just leave the words out today. Let's just move, right? Let's just feel. So the somatic piece and the movement piece is something, it's a modality that I use, that I definitely don't think, at least in the sort of formal, i.e. white dominated psychotherapy spaces, is something that's used enough. But definitely my clients of African descent and those who are not of African descent definitely connect with that. The other thing is bibliotherapy. Bibliotherapy, again, is one that it can be really powerful, and not just like self-help books, but even fiction. I think it's so incredibly important, again, for us to see ourselves reflected, and also maybe those characters in those books don't necessarily have our same experience, but they may serve as possibility models. What I like to think of as possibilities of how we might want to show up in the world. So bibliotherapy is one of those that I use a lot too. And it doesn't just have to be, reading books. Now we have audiobooks too. One of the things that I do at the, when I've had a particularly stressful day is I get me some tea, I turn off all the lights, put in my AirPods, and I listen to me a good book. Right? And so that's a healing modality too. It doesn't necessarily need to be, healing again. I think someone said is simple isn't easy, right? But so it's simple, It does, and often, you know, it's not easy because it takes so much practice, but it doesn't have to also always be this sort of formal codified thing that we thinking about that we have to go someplace and do. We can just do it in our own home. And so that movement, that bibliotherapy, are things we could do, you know, after we get out of here, we could do it. Right. So that's something that I've used in my work.
Is there a simple movement that you could guide our community in now?
I just, you know, I'm part of my background is in dance. And so I studied dance in high school, went to performing arts school, and then I minored in dance in college. And then I had my own dance company in New York, and I took dance classes with Ronald K. Brown, who is a choreographer in New York City, and he integrates West African dance forms with contemporary modern dance forms, but he does this undulation chest thing that I just find incredibly soothing. You know, just because the shoulders go back, you know, we can talk about that breath work. You can breathe with that, right? And so that's something I like to do. And then sometimes I do it like you see me with my hand on my chest, because I'm also getting in touch with that rhythm of my heart. So it's just that chest movement, just something that can be so comforting. And so I share that with a lot of my clients as well. Just something you could do it standing or sitting. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I like it because it was making my booty pop out too.
There you go. You get the spine involved. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
One
Well,
more.
yes.
If you are to look at some West African dance, particularly from Dahomey, you'll see that that movement is from people as young as 3 years of age to as old as 80. And they move a little bit differently because the body changes. It's just so incredibly beautiful to see. So thank you for that, Dr. JL.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Of course. Thanks for asking, Jan.
I love it. I love it. Babajay, we were discussing types of healing modalities that family present here may not have either been aware of or have access to or know what it is. And I'm thinking about you with psychodrama. Psychodrama has been around for a very long time. And I know that you are an advocate and a practitioner of using psychodrama techniques in the Black community. Could you speak to that and any other healing modalities you'd like to share with family present here?
Certainly. Psychodrama is the two words: psycho, psychology, drama, theater, bringing them together for a healing modality. And J.L. Marino speaks about this internal, this autonomous healing center that each of us has. And of course, we share that collectively. I was attracted to his work because he was saying things and doing things. In fact, when he created psychodrama, it was to the people at the bottom of society. He was talking to the prostitutes. He was talking to people who are homeless. He was talking to people who was having some mental challenges. So it came into existence from the universe to heal those on the bottom of society. And indeed, that's us. So with psychodrama, the other thing about it, which is so beautiful, we have different language that speaks about the different natural tendencies. So when people sync up, we call that telly. But the other thing about psychodrama, which is really powerful, is that you have to have a team of people to do it. You can do it individually, right? But the more people you have, the bigger the team has to be. And the team goes through different trainings, you know, to be what is called an auxiliary ego. The director, the assistant director, you have all these different roles that come into play, because Marino was talking about the different roles that we take on, role in terms of how we live our life through father, son, wife, so forth and so on. So it's very complicated, but it's very easy. And because you are externalizing different things that's taking place to you, it's like taking your mind, putting it on the stage, and then putting it back in your mind, but it's happening through the body, not just the mind, but it's happening through the body. So it's somatic in the sense because the body is involved. And it deals with movements. It's not just sitting down in a circle, and you can get things done through what is called talk therapy. But like our brothers in from Rwanda said, when they sent over some Western psychologists, they say, man, what you talking about? You want me to sit in this dark room while the sun is out and there's no drums? Oh no, you got to go. You go back home and you do that where you are, but where we are, we got to have something that has life in it, right? The ankh. So psychodrama has many of those things attached with it. I've made some, as you can well imagine, made some modifications. So when we talk about trauma, usually you will hear people, somebody talking about trauma, it's going to be a time they're going to say, contain it. We need to contain it. Guess what, folks? We've been contained. That's our problem. We don't need no goddamn containing. We've been contained. That's our problem. So what we have done is created what is called the calabash, right? The living calabash. It supports us. It's porous, and of course, there's different ways in which you can use the calabash. We use it as an instrument to drink water, to hold water. It's an instrument. We make the marimba. We make the shakere. It's so many things with us, and most African people around the globe have some connection with gourds. So it's something that I'm advocating for is the living calabash, that we are calabash for each other. We need support, but we don't need to be contained, but we need support. But we need a certain kind of flexibility. So that's a little bit about that. People can be in touch with me who want to be trained, but I would like to share with you what is called the earth breath. As a Sufi, we've been taught different breathing techniques, and one of the techniques is called was five breaths. But the earth breath is being comfortable in your chair, connecting your feet to the floor, that floor connected to the building, that building connected to the earth, and connected down to the center of the earth. And when we breathe in the earth breath, we're bringing in all that energy, bringing it up from the mid center of the earth. We breathe it in our nose, up through our ankles, calves, midsection, chest, throat, head, and hold, and breathe it out through the nose. One more time, breathing in from the center of the earth. Out through the nose. So we can do the earth breath, we can do the water breath, it's different breaths, but the earth breath is so important because what it's doing is bringing in that pure energy into our body system. And it's that purification actually dislodges all the things which aren't needed any longer, all the things that hurts us. But when we breathe it out, you have to dislodge it. You can't let it just get circulated. So when you're fast, people fast and they say, oh no, I got a headache. Well, yeah, that's because of the stuff that you ate. And now it needs to get out. So just fast some more and drink some more water. So it's the purification process and it's the releasing process. Both have to be in sync with one another. So the earth breath gives you that. So anytime you feel upset, things are not going right, just take that moment and do that earth breath, and you'll find your constitution will come back into order, into sync with itself, and it'll give you the clarity of mind to move forward with what you have to do.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for leading us in that. And we have, looking at the clock, we have just about 4 minutes left. And I'd love to hear closing remarks. As you all can imagine, dear family gathered here today, that this feels like just a part one of a conversation. We have these 4 individuals that have so much experience and passion, dedication, and knowledge that we got to have a part 2 at some point. So we'll talk about that. And yet I would like to offer each and every one of you, the 4 of you, to have an opportunity for closing remarks. Is there anything else you'd like to say or offer to the community here today?
I'll be quick. I just want to say that we know what we need already. You have to just allow yourself to trust yourself. Trust that you're tapping into your divine, and give yourself what you need.
much.
I was going to say the same, Brother JL, from this reason. Not only do we know as a collective. And we should.
The I is always we.
Yes, and if we could check in with each other and say, what do you think about this? Well, yeah, I've been thinking about this too. So let's go and sit outside and just breathe under the trees and let the wind tell us what the wind wants us to know today.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Babajay Onaje has also put into the chat the TEA fundraiser October 21st at 1 p.m. And please go to the links provided there. And so this is a fundraiser. Baba, would you like to say a little bit more about that right now before we close out?
Thank you so much. Dr. Fatima Hafiz is the founder, CEO of T, Transforming Education Associates. And she's doing this fundraiser to attract money to help women in Africa to create microloans, to also purchase a community refrigerator, because Imhotep, the school that she was on the board for, chairman of the board for I don't know how many years, they are growing food hydroponically, producing something like 2.5 acres of produce a week. And now they just want to give this food out to the community. So they need a community refrigerator in order to do that, to heist it so it doesn't go bad. And also to raise money for children, particularly in Ghana. Her daughter, my daughter through marriage, and her husband moved to Ghana. They repatriated, yo. I mean, that's where they live in. And if I show you the picture of the children dancing, you'll be just like, what? I mean, the children are having so much fun. And another thing they're doing is they're creating a fund to purchase non-toxic materials for sanitary napkins, because some of the young ladies can't go to school because it costs too much. So now what they're sending sewing machines to Ghana where they can assemble it, but we want to purchase the material to be inserted, which is non-toxic, so that they can be healthy and they can continue their education. So tomorrow, it's a Zoom. We're asking people to come and hear all the people there. Setchaway Shakur, the daughter of Matula Shakur, Fina Shakur, she's going to be one of the guests tomorrow. So a few other people, somebody's going to be singing. You're going to have a good time. So if you want to extend what you experience now and see how it translates into some real on the ground stuff, tomorrow is a place in which that can take place. And the chat will take you to the link. Thank you so very much for allowing me to share that wonderful invitation to my family.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. As those of us that identify as female in this audience know how costly sanitary napkins and pads can be. And so these are young girls, young women that have to stay home because they can't afford these products for themselves. So they miss these days of school each and every month during their cycle. And so these are also part of the things that this fundraising, will help to alleviate, so they can continue, showing up for their education as they want to. Yeah. Dr. Beraki, last remarks from you. Please share with us.
I want to thank the brother. Also, the research shows that those sanitary napkins are the cause of a lot of disease and disorder, mental, emotional, and physical, but they still have them on the market. So if we can control that in any way and support that, let's do it. I just want to thank you so much, Dan, for this wonderful, this opportunity for us to reconnect, because we're always connected. And I just enjoyed and loved every face. And I hope that we can kind of, forgive ourselves and let ourselves off the hook from yesterday. Be present for today. On my phone, I keep this message. Yesterday was history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why they call it a present. Stay there. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes.
We are each other's medicine. Dear family, thank you so much for joining us
Jan,
today.
if I can, just one other thing, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
We have to move beyond being each other's medicine to being each other's liberation medicine.
Yes, liberation.
It's not enough to stay resilient when these forces are coming against us. We have to be strong enough to overcome those forces. And I would also like to say that we have to create what is called the new Black birthing model, which means you have the midwife, you have the doula for her, you have the doula for him, and you have a lactation consultant and possibly a wellness consultant. We have to create a different level of social organization that we're creating more to supporting the birth of each Black woman. And by doing so, we create what is called the community doula. That is to say that the whole community comes. So any Black woman that has a baby she should be able to stay home for at least 9 days and do nothing, at least minimum 9 days. If we can't do that, we're not serious about our work. We have to support those Black bodies, those women who are actually giving us life through their 9 months, and we want them to go the full term, and we want the baby to have full weight, because without full weight and without full term, we risk the loss of that child. But we have to nourish the woman 9 days minimum. So we have to now put in place the new Black birthing model.
Ashe. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, dear family, for being here. Beloved, yes, please.
Can you speak to, I would like to speak to our Soldier project that I'm in community with beloved Richard, Richard Abayanu. We are a community of folks who would like to bring anyone in this community who'd love to come to the motherland, to come to Dahomey, to learn about what went on before, during, and after the Ma'afa. And that our history started long before our oppression. So stay tuned. I'll put something in the chat, or we can just get it to our community later. And that's all I wanted to speak to about that.
Dr. Lassiter, Dr. Beraki, any upcoming events, publications that you'd like family to know about before we close?
My book, Fear It's a Good Thing, is the Good Fear Guided Journal. And the actual book will be published June 2024. And I do have some upcoming dates for Reiki classes, which I didn't get to talk about. But hopefully, Jan, you'll have us back and we can, talk about that because it's more in detail. Yes. And I just honored and humbled being in your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nothing for me. My book is coming out, but it's not coming out to 2025. So hopefully I'll be in community with you all before then, and I can share a little bit more about that. But if you're on social media, feel free to follow me at Lassiter Health. And that's on Twitter and Instagram. And I share, my journey as a Black psychologist, as a Black healer, doing this work, and mental health tips on those sites. So if you're looking for something to just put in your day, you're already on social media at Lassiter Health. Thank you all. This has just been so amazing, everyone.
So fun. Thank you so much, family, for being here. Next time, or our part 2, we're going to take some questions, because I know folks have things to say and they also have some questions they would love to follow up on. So next time, soon come. Thank you so much, dear family. Take good care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
NailahBeraki.com. Forgot.
It's wonderful to be in community with our family. So nice. Thank you, everyone who came. Thank you.
It's so fun.
Thank you, Dr. Beloved Hunt. So nice to see you.
Always nice to be in your presence, beloved Cheryl Kearney.
Thank you.
I was here too.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you again. you know,
People in the waiting room, Jen, who don't want to leave.
Yeah. I had to put people in the waiting room. It's so fun to have these conversations and to be with such phenomenal people. So thank you very much.
Thank you. One last thing, I don't know about the rest of you, I assume, but is it possible to get a copy of the recording?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank
In fact, let me stop it just right this second so we don't